I ordered this shirt from Target because it was described online as rose-colored, and, you know, me wanting to be the rose-colored boy that I am, I ordered this shirt. You know, I don't know if this is rose-colored or not. What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It is time for another top 10 countdown, except wait a minute, it's not a top 10 at all. We're going top 15 because Paramore are one of my favorite bands of all time, and a top 10, that's not gonna do it justice. No, we're going bigger, we're going bolder, we're going past the norm and doing my top 15 favorite Paramore songs. And I know what you're thinking, stop right there dead in your tracks, because yes, I already did a top 10 on Paramore, but that was years ago, and the new album After Laughter changed everything and threw me into a black hole where I was trying to figure out, is this changed? Is this still in the top 5? Has this moved on? Is this no longer in the top 10? I did a lot of soul searching, a lot of thinking, and here we are. We've arrived at my personal top 15 favorite Paramore songs. Like I said, keep in mind that this is just my personal favorites playlist. This countdown, this top 15, it's all just my opinion, so if you want to comment your top 15 or your top 10 or your top 5 or your top 77, whatever you want to do, leave it in the comment section down below and I'll try to take a look at your list as well. Please drop a like on the video if you enjoy it, subscribe to the channel if you are new here and if you enjoy my content, and also if you are able to, support me on Patreon. It really does help out. My girlfriend Infinity on Hannah does edit the top 10s or the top 15s and several other types of series on this channel and beyond ARTV as well, and I do pay her out of the Patreon money. So if you're able to support the channel and what I do here and what I'm trying to bring to the table, then click that top link down below. Other than that, honorable mentions are in the description, and let's get to my number 15 pick.
You've never been so used as I'm using you, abusing you, my little decoy. Don't look so blue, you should have seen right through. I'm using you, my little decoy.
Decoy is a selection from Riot that came out in 2007, over a decade old at this point, and while that is crazy and all to me, this is one of the tracks that I do feel like gets overlooked because it's technically like a bonus track or a B-side or what have you. And Paramore have a lot of great B-sides and ones that didn't quite make the album or were maybe released on some sort of other soundtrack or compilation. Trust me, some of the songs on my top 15 are gonna be from those specific things. Riot in general had a lot of tracks that really captured teenage emotions and angst and that sort of thing, and honestly, Decoy is one of the ones that did it best. Obviously, Misery Business, a classic, didn't quite make the cut for the top 15 this time, but still a certified fresh banger. Obviously, Decoy is great as well. This track here seems to be kind of a takedown in a way. I'm using you, my little decoy, Williams sings on this one. And I think that Haley is so talented in terms of her voice at such a young age here. Obviously, it was a big progression from their debut album. And I think that All We Know Is Falling definitely had a lot of potential, but it is my least favorite from them. Riot built and capitalized on all of that, and Decoy really shows that big time. After a few years of being extremely scared that Paramore were never going to come back, here we have a selection from the self-titled album from 2013. This was an excellent record, and it is opened up by my number 14 pick, Fast in My Car. Those pounding drum rhythms and that really nice, clean, choppy guitar that opens this song up is just so blissful to me. This is a track that really sees like somebody throwing a lot of emotions out the window, saying, all right, let's play it cool. And that synthesizer that just kind of rolls in, and then Haley comes in with a really nice vocal performance on this track, especially during the verses. Obviously, the chorus is sticky as hell, but the most fascinating thing to me is just the instrumentation and how things are maybe a little bit poppy and simplified in a way, but it was such a good progression for them. This track really sticks in your memory all these years later.
Now when I caught myself, I had to stop myself from saying something that I should have never thought. Now when I caught myself, I had to stop myself from saying something that I should have never thought.
In Intense emotional feelings are the driving force behind my number 13 pick, I Caught Myself. And Hayley Williams obviously still to this day kind of struggles performing this track live, at least in terms of kind of breaking down and getting a little bit emotional. She does literally have to stop herself sometimes, and just like she sings about on this track, I had to stop myself and then I caught myself. All of these things that she thinks she's falling into, or perhaps these traps that are set. And I love the guitars here because it showed a different side of Paramore. This was, of course, on one of the Twilight soundtracks, just as one of their other tracks that we will get to was, but obviously this one here was very different from the other song that I'm talking about. This one in particular is something that I feel conjured up a different side in terms of the emotional connectivity that we had with Paramore, because previously, sure, we had had emotional tracks, but this one had a little bit more depth to it, and it was powered by a really nice drum groove on this track, and the guitars had a different tone to them as well, and that's why I feel like it stands out still so much to me to this day. For whatever reason, I didn't even know about this song's existence for the longest time, but once I hopped on board, I was totally sold.
Can count the years on one hand that we've been together. I need the other one to hold you, make you feel better. It's not a walk in the park to love each other.
While the relationship that this song was written about unfortunately came to a demise, that doesn't change the fact that this song is so damn catchy. I'm talking like uber glue, sticky, whatever it is. If you're looking for something to like stick something to a wall and you know, like that stuff that's always falling off and it won't stick it, this is like putting a nail through it and you know that it's never gonna go anywhere because that's how ingrained in your memory it gets. I'm talking about nailing things to a wall, and my Paramore poster is just over here trembling like, please don't put a nail through my forehead. Everything from the cadence of the drum fills, the really catchy guitars that don't do a ton during the verses, but just the bum, boom, no, 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 boom, boom, no, 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 no. It's just something that's so perfect in a way. It's weird. It's a relationship song, and it's obviously something that I relate to still with my girlfriend to this day. I'm obviously still into you. I can't get over the butterflies, everything like that. It's a fun song. It's a sweet song. It's a cute song, and it was really successful for the band. I was actually surprised that this long into their career, they were still scoring such big hits. That and obviously Ain't It Fun, which isn't on this list, still a good song. Those were both top 40 hits in the US on the Hot 100.
Be nervous, we can turn it into a joke. Have 50 girls, don't make me laugh. Just a little bit longer. I guess I don't want to.
Rose-Colored Boy here, checking in for my number 11 pick. Rose-Colored Boy, though, on a serious note, what a great song. What smart songwriting we have here. It's written about somebody who is eternally optimistic and has the greatest things happen to them and maybe has the best stories and is always able to be positive. And then Hayley comes in singing like, you know, just let me cry a little bit longer. I'm over here having an emotional breakdown. You know, Paramore's been through so many lineup changes that I don't even know what to do with myself and I'm doubting myself. I have all this anxiety. And then there's this person, which I can only assume might have been somebody that used to be in the band, maybe Jeremy Davis, maybe her ex at this point, Chad from New Found Glory. Who knows? It's not really that big of a thing to speculate, but we know that somebody in her life was driving her to the point of insanity. Like, okay, you know what? Sometimes it's okay to be a little bit negative. Just bring it down a notch, dude. And this song, from its like peppy cheerleading styled intro, low key, no pressure, just hang with me in my weather, to the super catchy guitars from Taylor York. That dude is so talented. He's able to take like something heavier from back of the day and you see his evolution to something a little bit more slick and technical. He's really all over the place. He's skilled as a producer, a songwriter, and obviously a guitarist.
One day he found her crying, coiled up on the dirty ground. Her prince finally came to save her, and the rest you can figure out. But it was a trick, and the clock struck 12. We'll make sure to build our own brick, boring brick.
Finally cracking the top 10, we have Brick by Boring Brick off of my favorite Paramore album, Brand New Eyes. You're going to see a lot of selections from that record. Brick by Boring Brick is another track that talks about and kind of calls out an individual that lives in this fantasy world where everything is great and everything is going the right way. But you live in this world because your real life is tragic, is basically what is said in the lyrical content here. I love the stern guitars that are kind of confrontational on this track, and also that solid drumming and bass groove that runs all throughout this tune. It's extremely captivating, and it's why it's remained a favorite for me to this day.
As if the first blood didn't thrill enough, I went further out to see what else was left of us. Never found the deep end of a little ocean, drained the fantasy of you headfirst into shallow proof.
I was amazed at how much my number 9 pick Pool grew on me in the months to come after Laughter's release. This is a track that opens up on a sampled wind chime thing, like wind hitting a building somewhere, and Taylor York was the mastermind behind that. He was able to plug that into a track and make it into a super cool loop that opened it up, and then some almost kind of watery guitars, because obviously a track like Pool, it makes me think like that. It's like coming up from underwater slowly, and then you remove the goggles, and that's when the song truly starts. This song is about persistence and not giving up, even when you're counted down and it's like the rock is holding you down and it's like tap out, and you're like, I'm just gonna keep fighting just for another second here. Could've got the same rush from Any Lover's Touch, Haley sings on this one, and I feel like this has to be about a past relationship. Obviously, it could have been a really close friend, but I'm guessing a relationship in terms of like something romantic. This one here refers to all of the cuts and all of the scars that you receive over the course of a relationship, and it just makes you think like, what exactly all was she put through? What did she go through mentally, emotionally? And the track remains so catchy as a result of that. As they always describe After Laughter, it's kind of like dancing through your tears. It's sadness, but at the same time, it's euphoria. And Pool, that's the perfect balance right there. The pH is right. I'm referring to the pH balance of a pool, if anybody didn't get that. I'm sorry, I'm a nerd.
And the worst part is, before it gets any better, we're headed for a cliff. Then in the free fall, I will realize I'm better off when I hit the bottom.
As we enter my number 8 pick, Turn It Off, I have to say that like 8 all the way up through like 3, it's a really like neck and neck, really tight race. And I don't want to say like, oh my god, 8 is so much worse than 4 or anything like that. Let me tell you, these are so close, and it pained me to kind of separate some of these, but had to rank it somehow. Turn It Off is one of my favorite performances ever from Zach Farrow. On this track, he's so commanding. He opens this song up, and that guitar riff that really slices in from Taylor York also. It might have been Josh at the time, but obviously now if it gets played live, those duties are on Taylor. This lead guitar is very clean, and the way that it comes across, it almost feels hopeful, but then you listen to the song and it's like, oh, the worst part is, before it gets any better, we're taking a nosedive off of a cliff. And that's how you feel some days. It's just like you're fighting the good fight, you're putting in the effort, and then life just wants to throw a curveball at you and send you reeling. If I'm being quite honest, I think Brand New Eyes as an album was Hayley Williams' most expressive vocally. I think it shows her at her prime, at her best, not saying that she's by any means bad. Now, obviously you guys know she is one of my favorite singers ever. But Hayley Williams on this album possessed such a charisma, such a charm, and the way that she was able to sell this happy, sad thing so well on Brand New Eyes, and a track like Turn It Off in particular, that's why it's always something that I come back to and sing along at the top of my lungs too.
In the morning, I'll rise. In the morning, I'll let you die in the morning.
And the sole selection that I have from the Singles Club, I have at number 7, In the Morning. This song is so special because it really does remind me of the track Landslide by Fleetwood Mac, and they obviously did a live mashup of that for the Fueled by Ramen record label anniversary party, and it sounded so good. They flowed in and out of each other so well, and it transitions perfectly. You can see that the band was inspired by that when they wrote this, and I remember signing up for the Singles Club. There were a few songs and they were getting released every few months and that sort of thing, and this has always been my favorite. The first time that I heard this, it was in the morning, literally, and I listened to that, and I hadn't even seen the title of the song yet, and it just seems like somebody getting up, starting their routine, getting a cup of coffee, starting their day, but they're feeling really down. In the morning, I'll rise kind of refers to the fact that every day you might have things weighing you down, things that make you want to stay in bed and just lay there and wallow in your own self-pity all day. But in the morning, I'll rise. In the morning, I'll let it die, and I'll let this whole notion of what I think things should be die, and that goes out the window. What a beautiful track. I love the slow, brooding atmosphere here, and the fact that you're able to focus on literally every instrument, including the vocals as well, is fantastic.
All I wanted was you. All I wanted was you. All I wanted was you.
Number 6, All I Wanted. You know how I was talking about those vocal performances from Hayley Williams on Brand New Eyes? I don't think I need to say a ton about this track because holy shit, she hits a grand slam on this one. She slam dunks it. Whatever other sports reference I can insert, it's the best of the best right here. All I wanted was you. Wow, I kind of surprised myself there. I thought my voice was gonna crack. I really like how this one kind of keeps you guessing because it starts off slow. It's just like somebody going about their life, and it's just kind of this simple guitar, and it is really, really catchy immediately off the bat. And then I think she kind of subdues her vocals intentionally so that she can unleash once we get to the All I Wanted Was You part. It's such a simple phrase, but it shows so much emotion. If you don't initially see the hurt behind the eyes of this song, so to speak, you will. It'll come. If you listen to it more and more, you're gonna see how much disaster really takes place behind this track. And with a simple phrase like that just getting repeated and even being put out there in an a cappella fashion, especially when she really belts it out on the All I Wanted Was You, you really start to see that something detrimental happened and she wanted something so bad, but it was taken away.
Gonna make you wonder why you even try. Hard times. Gonna take you down and laugh when you cry. These lives, and I still don't know how I even survive. Hard times. Hard times. And I gotta hit rock on.
Number 5, Hard Times. I'm wearing it right here on my shirt. I woke up very early in the morning to hear the premiere of this song, see the music video, everything like that, and let me tell you, I was instantly on board. I was instantly captivated and mesmerized as well. A song like this is so well done because it has the 80s influences, and it's such a change of pace for Paramore. The thing that I really don't get is the comparison between Fall Out Boy going pop and Paramore going pop, because people constantly say,
Well, you loved it when Paramore did it, but you don't like it when Fall Out Boy did it. That doesn't make sense, you fucking hypocrite.
if you aren't able to see the difference between Fall Out Boy's move at pop and then Paramore's amazing stab at it, then I don't know what to tell you. The marimba intro, the guitars that are so clean, but also a little bit minimalistic as well, and obviously the lyrical content. Happy Sad at its finest. Guys and girls out there watching, if you've never heard this, if you haven't given Paramore's new stuff a chance, I beg you, because this is so catchy. It was one of my favorite songs of 2017.
I told him no when to stick it. I left town with a dime to my name. Said I'm done with all of my fake friends, self-righteous pawns in a losing game. Got my band and a light that won't go out. Been burning since the day I was born. So I cry just a little, then I'll dry my eyes, 'cause I'm not a little girl no more.
Underrated alert, we have at number 4, Grow Up off of the self-titled album from 2013. Grow Up is such a fascinating one to me because I relate to it on a lot of levels. If you're able to look and see somebody in your life that's really just not getting with the times, they're still acting like they're 14 when they're 23 or 27, whatever the case might be, then it can be a little bit odd. And as the chorus says, if you don't grow up, I might have to leave you behind. Some of us have to grow up sometimes, and it's just like kind of a little bit of shade, but it's done in the best way. I love the backing percussion on this one as well, and the fact that it almost feels maybe a little bit like a tropical flavor, especially with the way that it kind of stops and starts after the chorus into the verse. It's a great vibe that I get from this one, and the guitars, the way that they're toned on this one as well, so catchy. They're in your head as soon as you listen to the track, and it honestly puts you in a good mood. Let me just say that while I have Let the Flames here at number 3, it also kind of broke my heart not to include Part 2, the sequel to Let the Flames Begin, on this top 15. But trust me, it is in the honorable mentions. It's a fantastic song, one of the best sequel songs that I have ever heard. Let the Flames Begin is so theatric and big and grandiose, especially for a band in this punk and pop punk era, whatever they were going through at the time with Riot. But this song really stood out not only on that album, but years later because it was wise beyond its years. The stellar drumming, the driven guitars that are so ferocious on this track, and the commanding vocal presence, especially on the hook of the song, is all still phenomenal. It's something where you look back and you say, maybe a lot of Riot, okay, maybe I've outgrown. This is one of those tracks that holds true through the years, and if you listen back on the full song, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Oh guys, it was so tough to pick between number 2 and number 1 because I went back and forth. I was so wishy-washy. I was flip-flopping. I was every other metaphor that you can think of. I was turning pages back and forth. But here, at number 2, we have Decode, however you want to say it, off of the Twilight soundtrack and also a bonus track on the Brand New Eyes album that came out in 2009. I can think of very few instances of other bands in the alternative and rock genre that did such a great job, especially like in terms of like mainstream bands that were mainstream popular, that did such a great job in terms of building up an atmosphere and a song that was released as a single. This one has something that lures you in and truly puts you out there where you feel like you're lost. Maybe you're in a rainy atmosphere somewhere and you're surrounded by fog and you don't know which way to go. And even though this song is associated with Twilight, I'm able to put it out of my mind because I don't really want that association because, you know, cringe. But Decode showed such a maturity to it and it showed such a level of understanding. And once that chorus hits, it's like raising up a sail and something truly takes off. And the song is kind of caught in the inner turmoil, back and forth. It's like a ship being tossed around in the night and you're not sure if you're going to make it out of the storm, but once you get to the end of the song, you know that you did make it through. You're going to be okay. And this song shows so many grand statements from the band, the loud guitars, the little solo that's thrown in there, and even the drumming that's so fierce leading into the verses and the chorus as well. This song is like something that gets me so amped up because I not only love it and relate to it, because it's just a great song and exemplary in terms of songwriting and musicianship in general for Paramore. We finally arrived at number 1, and I'm sorry that this video is so long, but it's hard for me to bite my tongue when it comes to talking about Paramore. Please let me know in the comments if you don't like these longer form videos or anything like that. But here we go. Number 1, my favorite Paramore song. It's Playing God, once again, from Brand New Eyes. Playing God really confronted the animosity that was going on with the band at the time. Obviously, Josh and Zach Farrow weren't exactly feeling like they were getting the credit that they deserved, and they ended up leaving the band. Obviously, Zach Farrow returned eventually as the drummer, but I think Josh in particular really had some strong feelings of kind of hatred that built up in him because he had been in a relationship with Haley in the past and things didn't work out, and that can be tough if you're still in a band with someone, and especially if you see Haley being talked about. She's the main member that everyone kind of references, but they talk about Paramore. Oh, it's the female fronted band and it's Haley Williams, and no one really talks about the other people. I could see where he's coming from, but I do think that he went way overboard. Anyways, Playing God as a song is so good. It once again nails down the vibe that Brand New Eyes does so well in general, and I think that the lyrical content is the main thing that I'm drawn here because it is so well penned. It's so incredibly intelligent, and the way that she's able to kind of point the fingers all over the place and say, next time you point a finger, I'll point you to the mirror. That phrase always sticks in my head because it's like, if you're out here pointing fingers, you're probably guilty of something yourself. Thank you so much for watching till the end of this video. Please drop a like on it if you did enjoy it. If you want to see the honorable mentions that didn't quite make the list, everything from Monster to 26, The Only Exception, Feeling Sorry, Here We Go Again, everything like that, it is in the description along with more information about this top 15. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and thank you to everybody that's supporting me on Patreon. If you want to go directly to my Patreon page, it's right over here in in this annotation if you want to see all of my Paramore themed videos. There's a convenient playlist right here for you. I highly recommend it. And if you want to see another top 10 that I did, right over here. All of my social media accounts can be found linked in the description down below. Other than that, I'll see you very soon right here on ARTV.